Hello students, welcome again to Turbo Machines, and we have seen that starting point that one particular topic in energy exchange in turbo machines, and this is the continuation of that particular topic, which is energy exchange in turbo machines. Now coming to this particular topic, so we see the generalized turbo machine, that rotor, that figure is the generalized turbo machine figure is shown in the screen, and so there is a shaft, so there is OO, and it is the axis of the shaft which rotates with an angular velocity omega. So this will be, for example, if you take the turbine, okay, so turbine consists of, there is a shaft and there is series of blades, okay, and then so the entire setup, the stator and rotor, the entire setup is nothing but impeller. So water comes and strikes the turbine blades, the entire blade will rotate. Because that blades are mounted over the shaft, so shaft also will rotate. Now the shaft which rotates with an angular velocity omega, okay. So here you can see in the figure, so there is a what you call rotor which is rotating, so along with the shaft and with the velocity of angular velocity, that is omega. So now the fluid enters the rotor at 1 and leaves at 2. So here in this figure we can see that one, okay. So one is the downward direction, that if you see that, so downward position of this axis of the shaft, so you will see that portion number 1 and leaves at 2. So that means whatever the diagram is drawn, the below the axis of the shaft is nothing but the inlet velocity diagram, that is inlet diagram, and the above the axis of the shaft is nothing but the outlet or exit diagram. Okay, so this is how we can differentiate. So we can differentiate these inlet and outlet diagrams. Now 1 and leaves at 2 after passing through the rotor by any path. So water can come and hit the turbine blades and it can move and it can leave the turbine in any path. So based on the design of the turbines or the turbine blades, so it can move. So water can enter in this particular direction where the jet of nozzle's position. So based on the nozzle's position, water comes after hitting the turbine blades based on the design or based on the position of the turbine blades. So it will leave the turbine blades in any position. So based on the design, so it will leave the any position, right, passing through the rotor by any path. The angle of entry and exit may be arbitrary. So angle of the entry and exit may be arbitrary. So now we can see in this diagram, so there will be a shaft, okay, OO, that axis of the shaft, and so water enters with some velocity, and after rotating, so with the angular velocity omega, and it leaves at 2 position. If you look at it, so the velocities are split into 3 different components, like, okay, so 3 different components you can see in 3 different colors that you can see here, okay. So that we will see in detail what are those components, what are the 3 different components which is shown over there in the diagram, so that we will see it clearly. So now coming to this, let V, so first and foremost, when water comes and hit the turbine blade with the velocity V, which is nothing but absolute velocity of the fluid entering the rotor at 1 at any angle. Now coming to this, so when water comes and hits the turbine blades with V velocity, since it is at entry, so it is called as V1. So V1 is nothing but the velocity, absolute velocity at inlet. If it is the outlet or exit, so V2 is nothing but the absolute velocity at exit. So in this how, so we can differentiate the velocities. So water coming and hitting the turbine blade with V velocity, that is nothing but absolute velocity of the fluid entering the rotor at 1 at any angle, so it can be. So based on the position of the jet of wind, so water can come and hit at any angle. So this velocity vector may be resolved into 3 mutually perpendicular components. So as I told you, as I shown you in the figure, so these components can be divided into 3 different types. So one is the axial component, which is V suffix A, and radial component V suffix R, and tangential component V suffix W. Okay, so we have axial component, we have radial component, we have tangential component. So coming to this axial component, so this is parallel to the axis of the rotation. So when we say axial component, so velocity will be the same that of the axis of the rotation. So now if you see that axis of the rotation that we have seen in the diagram, OO, so that is the axis of the shaft. If the velocity component is parallel to the axis of the rotation, then that component is nothing but axial component. So axial force is produced due to change in magnitude of this component. If you change the magnitude of the component, so then this axial force is produced. So this axial force is taken by the thrust bearing or the machine which is finally transferred to the housing. So when that water comes and heats and the direction is changed because of the thrust bearing, so finally it is transferred to housing. Housing means, so there is to what you call, to avoid the splashing of water, so and spilling out, so and to take care of the impeller, that rotors and blades, so there will be a protection, that is nothing but the housing. So where water is finally transferred to the housing, or the axial force is taken by the thrust bearing of the machine. So because of that, that component, that axis will be changed. So if that particular component is parallel to the axis of rotation, so that component is nothing but axial component. So coming to this radial component, so this is parallel to the radius of the rotor. So when if the rotor is rotating like this, if it is parallel to the radius of the rotor, then it is called as radial component. So please kindly know the difference between these two. For example, I'll take this as an example. For example, here if you imagine that this is the axis of the rotation, and so here you have what you call a component, sorry, you have a turbine. Okay, so now this is rotating like this. Okay, this is rotating like this. For example, I'll take this as what you call, so for better understanding, so I'm going to show you this demonstration, I think. So for example, like this. Now axis of the rotation, and here what you call that impeller or the rotor or the impeller will be there, right? Impeller will be there. So now water comes, if water, the velocity component is taken parallel to the axis of rotation like this. If you take the parallel axis of this component is nothing but axial component. This component is nothing but axial component. Whereas in the case of this one, for example, this is the rotor, and rotor is rotating like this. Rotor is rotating like this. If you take the component in this direction, axis of the radius, okay, so the parallel to the radius of the rotor, then this is nothing but axial component. Know the difference between these two. So if it is like this is the axial component. If it is like this is the radial component. Okay, axial and radial. So this is the difference between these two. So radial component, this is parallel to the radius of the rotor. Radial component is produced due to change in the magnitude of this component. So radial forces are taken by journal bearings. So earlier I said for thrust bearing, so axial component will be there. So force is taken, and here because of this journal bearings, so the radial forces are taken. So it should be noted that no torque is exerted on the rotor by these two forces, that is axial and radial. No torque is exerted because of these two components. There is no torque is exerted. Okay, because torque is zero in this axial and radial component. So this is what we should know, make note of it. Now last one is the tangential component. The torque which is exerted on the rotor only due to the change in angular momentum of the tangential component, right? So tangential component is exerted on the rotor only due to change in the angular momentum. Change in the angular momentum. For example, now this is rotating. right? So the torque is exerted on the rotor only due to the change in angle. For example, so angular momentum changes from if it is increases or decreases, there will be change in the angular momentum. Then this tangential component will be is exerted on the rotor. Okay. So assumptions. Now we have to take the assumptions. So we have seen three different one. One is axial component, another one is a radial component, and next one is tangential component. Because of the change in the angular momentum, this torque is exerted. So that is nothing but tangential component. So now assumptions will take fluid enters and leaves the vein in a direction tangential to the vein tip at inlet and outlet. Fluid enters and leaves the vein. Now this is the assumption we need to take, because very important, the fluid enters and leaves the vein in a direction tangential to the vein tip at inlet and outlet. So vein tip, inlet and outlet, so fluid enters and leaves in the tangential direction. So there is no frictional resistance as the fluid flows over the vein. So we imagine that, so it is a resistant less, that is there is no resistance, frictional resistance is zero. So that is what our assumption is, okay, over when fluid flows over the vein. So here we will see absolute V is equal to absolute velocity of the fluid meters per second, n is the speed of rotation of the rotor in rpm, r is equal to radius of the rotor m, omega is equal to angular velocity of the rotor 2 pi n by 16, and u is equal to linear velocity of vein tip, peripheral velocity, that is pi dn by 60, and m dot is equal to mass flow rate of fluid, which is kg per second, and last one is small d is equal to rotor diameter. Okay, so we will continue in the next video. Thank you very much.